Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? We are back with another video, and today we are going to be reviewing feathers, but this time I'm going to show you feathers that can possibly be mixed up. So first we're going to start with a rock pigeon, because I saw a video of this girl, and she said that this was your common pigeon. No, it's a mourning dove, but I see why she thought that. When I first collected this feather, I didn't even know what it was. I thought it could have been pigeon or dove. But then I looked into more research before I made a video. I made sure I knew. But you're probably thinking that these two are the same feather. They are, in fact, they look the same, but they're not the same bird. This is an African colored dove. This is a Eurasian colored dove. And they are way different birds. They're different doves, but they look the same. The African colored dove is slightly smaller. The Eurasian colored dove is larger in size. You can see the difference. The thing is, this feather is in a completely different place than this one in the wing. This one's at the way and this one's close to the end. Now, if you look, you could see the higher the black, that's how you know it's closer to the end. But like if this one were the same size as that one, then the black would be higher and this would be on the outside. But it's not, so. And I knew this because this is where I found all these ones. Also, these feathers are always going to be darker than the African colored dove feathers. For the mourning dove, you could just tell it's a mourning dove. The tail feathers are the ones that you could tell the most. They have this black stripe, and then they have like this, kind of like a heart-ish shape at the white tip. And then there's the pigeon. These are probably more common than you think. Let me show you. Probably mentioned in the last video if you haven't checked it out yet. I don't know what I said. Sometimes white pigeon feathers come in white. Just all white. It's like an angel feather. But it's the same bird, the rock pigeon. This is the blue morph that I've mentioned in the first video I made. And yeah, so the ones that are probably gonna get confusing are these feathers here. These are both Eurasian colored dove. This is African colored dove. Now it's slightly smaller. Ones like this are closer to the end. This is an African colored dove. Small in size. Now the thing is, sometimes when you're collecting these, you have to make sure. Because sometimes, if you look, they'll be smaller. You have to measure it from the bottom. But measuring a feather means you have to go from the full structure. Like the feather I found on the video earlier today, this isn't the full feather. The whole part is missing. That is actually in full-on size. It would look like, get an example, this. So that much of it is missing. So these are all the tail feathers. These are all tail feathers, okay? These are all tail feathers. I want to make sure you guys heard what I said. The ones I'm focusing on most are this is a Eurasian colored dove feather, and this is a African colored dove feather. These are both wing feathers. They're also both mid-range primary feathers. These are both feathers from the exact same spot on the wing. So they don't go together, and they look very, very similar. But how do you tell them apart? Simple. For me at least, but don't worry, I'll show you. So, if you look closely, you could see how this feather, you can see the tint of brown. They look very, very similar. But if you look closely, like if we put them together, you could see that they're actually not the same color. Just look closely. This one's, the African colored doves are always going to be lighter than the Eurasian colored dove. This is very, very hard to tell, but you have to look very, very closely to see that this one's slightly darker, this one's slightly lighter. Me, at first, it was just so complicated separating them, but then I got the hang of it once I collected even more. No, you know, just measuring, you always gotta know that they're slightly smaller, not the same size. Now if you put them on top like this, it looks like they can go together, but you can see that, nope, they're not the right size. Because if you like add this feather onto this one, it looks like it fits perfectly, but it doesn't. These are both mid-range primaries. but there's one thing I want to point out. Knowing the position of each feather is very, very, very easy. So if you look, then you could see this is what you call the notching. The notching is basically like it kind of curves inward when it comes to these feathers. Now the first primary wing feather, the leading primary, the first one, not the short one, but the first one, it doesn't have notching at the beginning of the front of it. But if you look on the next one, it's gonna have some notching like about right there. The notching location is very important for you to know the feathers and what order they go in. Now the next one you can see, the notching is slightly higher. It's not about the size of the feather, it's about where the notching is located. Because if you see, if you put it right here, I said puss it right now. So if you put it right here, now you can see that the notching comes off of it right there. Now, if you look right here, you see that the notching is actually right about there. So, yeah, the notching is usually, it goes away, and then by the secondaries, it's like just curved, you know. So, it's important where you see the notching at. Some of these, this isn't the full stem due to the fact that this was a hawk attack. So, the pattern on the front of the feather, like the light part, is what you cover with the notching area slightly coming off. The notching part has to be the part where the feather comes off. So, if you look, you don't fully cover it, but you cover it enough. Okay, now I'm looking. See, I made a small mistake. Knew something was strange. If you look, you have to always measure it from this part right here. Not always this part, but if it doesn't have the full bottom of it, then just measure it from this part. And if you look, the notching is slightly... Wait. Yep, the notching is slightly higher right here. It depends, because like the notching, the more deep it is, like this part you can see it's more straight. That's how you know that feather is next. So, you see how curved it is? The notching? Look. You see how straighter it gets? Just about right there. The second one is always going to be larger than the next one coming up. And then it goes like this. Okay, that's much better. That makes way more sense. Okay, so back to these two. You can see that the notching in the areas. Right here, the notching is about right here. And right here, the notching is starting again right here, but it disappeared off right there. Despite this one being larger, this one actually goes right after this one. But these are both two different birds. It's just the location. This is a Eurasian, this is the African colored dove. This one goes first, this one goes next. That's just the positioning they're in. Of course, these don't go together due to the fact that they're from different birds. But since this one's larger, usually for this bird, hold on, wait, you know what? And yes, this feather goes right here. This is another African colored dove. This one is the same, has the same location as this one on the Eurasian colored dove. So if you look, this is like the same, has the same exact location. I was able to find one. So if you look, you can see now what I mean. That is going to be it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and watch the next video, okay? Thank you. Alright. Right.